Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 73. In this episode, I talk with River Boudreaux, who is a digital nomad. River and I talk about how she left her job in banking and just started traveling. She hired a coach to teach her marketing, and then she just hit the open road. This all started from her dreaming. Just sitting in her cubicle at the bank, dreaming of traveling. You know what changed her life? Jen Sincero's book, You Are a Badass. So, of course, River shares about her Jen Sincero fan club that she opened, or the Facebook group that she has, and then how it changed her life and how she's a total badass. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what River has to say. But first, gotta tell you about the new membership, Let's Be Badass. If you had issues last week, I'm sorry. I am so tech challenged, but I'm working through it. Most of the links on the page, once you got to the page to sign up, were down. But it has been fixed, I promise. So head on over there. The link will be in the show notes and sign up for Let's Be Badass today. If you missed it last week, let me tell you a little bit about it. Let's Be Badass is kind of a partner program with this podcast. Let's Be Badass is totally for you if you want to stop saying yes when you really need to say no. You feel more comfortable straddling the line than choosing yes or no. You're struggling to have work-life balance. You lie in bed wondering if dreams will ever be a priority, or if your dreams will ever be a priority. You ask yourself, is it me, or is there more to life? Is that you? If so, I would love to have you join Let's Be Badass. And let's take action together. That's totally what Let's Be Badass is about, right? It's going to give you actionable steps because I am all about the actionable steps. None of this fake fluff stuff. There's going to be actual steps. And you know, some of these guests that we have on the podcast, they're going to be on here. Only the difference is you would be able to show up and ask them questions at the end of the interview, right? Or maybe even throughout the interview. We'll kind of see it's all something new, and you would be a part of the founding members' journey. And also, here's the power of a community. A community of badasses or badass women can help push you beyond your limits, help see things for you that you didn't know were possible yourself. So sometimes you have to borrow other people's belief in you to be able to accomplish things, right? I can't tell you. Actually, one of my mentors, Jeff Goins, he had suggested that I do a podcast. Until he suggested it, I couldn't have seen it for myself, right? Because I was holding myself back, but for some reason, all I needed was permission to do it. Sometimes just a little bit of permission is all that you need. And I want that for you. I want to give you permission to be a badass, to do the things in your life that you want to do. And to really come back to yourself and listen to your inner voice. Now, let me tell you a couple of things that you'll get when you join. First, there's going to be live monthly calls with amazing guest experts. And we're going to talk to them. Like I said, it's similar to the podcast interview, but then you'll have one-on-one interaction and actually get to meet some of them face to face. And then not only do you get to see them talking or hear what they're saying, but you get to be the part to be like, okay, I have a question about this, or what do you say about this? Can you help me? So, some examples about topics that we might cover would be like people pleasing, confidence, time management, organization, like taking action, and just accountability, right? So, if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, definitely join Let's Be Badass. It's $1 right now, $1 Black Friday sale. That price is definitely gonna go away. It's $1 for the first month, so you can try it out and see if it seems like it's something for you or not. And then after that, it is going to be $47 a month. And I can pretty much promise you that price is going to go up. And it's probably going to go up relatively soon. So I would love for you to join right now and get the founding members price, because your price will be locked in once you join. If you join at the $47 a month rate, that's what you're going to be locked in at. So I would love for you to be part of the founding member and kind of shape how this is going to go. Like I said, $1. Is it going to hurt the bank account? And guess what? If it's not for you, then you can move on, part ways, no hard feelings. So yeah. And another thing that we're gonna implement into this group is live coaching and accountability calls. So at least once a month, we're gonna have live calls where we're trying to implement what we just learned from that guest expert. And so say we're doing people pleasing, and we're going to have accountability calls to see, okay, did you stand up for yourself this month? What's one thing you can do to stop being such a people pleaser? Things like that. And then there will also be worksheets that you can print off and answer some questions and do some self-reflection, so that you can figure out really how to implement it into your own life. Not just hear it and then forget it, because I know that's what I've tended to do sometimes. But no, it's actually going to be implementation and accountability on these live coaching calls. And there will also be a Facebook group. This Facebook group is going to be where you can hop in and ask questions or say what you're struggling with or share your wins with all these other badass women. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. But really, at the core of it, what I want is for you to get back to being you again. You are so dang badass, but it would be cool if you noticed it. In this group or in this membership, you will confidently be able to get off the sidelines and start making decisions about your life. You'll experience the freedom of being yourself and owning your choices, and stop having guilt or shame or regret. And you're going to feel proud of the life that you're creating and getting back in touch with who you are and what really matters to you. And that's like the most important thing, right? Is that you're doing you and doing things that align with your values, and you're progressing towards your goal. 2020 can stop a lot of people, but friend, I don't think it can stop you. So definitely join Let's Be Badass. And I will have a link to that, Let's Be Badass, in today's show notes. So yeah, check it out. Join for a month. $1. What is $1 going to hurt you? I would love to have you in the Let's Be Badass community. Will you be a badass with me? Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm glad you're here. Today's guest is River Boudreaux. River, will you take a second and tell us about yourself?
Sure. My name is River, and I currently, well, not since COVID, but I converted a passenger van into a camper van, and me and my cat travel around full time, and I work remotely. So anywhere I have a cell signal, I can get online and do my work. Again, pre-COVID, I would hole up at a coffee shop or anywhere I can get Wi-Fi and just kind of hang out. Of course, I would buy things, but I would also use their Wi-Fi to get work done and just kind of go where the wind blows me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place that you've been?
Oh my. So there is a mountain town in California called Ojai. It's about an hour and a half north of Los Angeles. And I spent a week there just stealth sleeping in my van. And if you don't know what that is, I literally just parked on the street and slept in my van. It's very inconspicuous. So unless you see me walking out of it, you wouldn't know someone's in there because I just have
Right.
a white Caravan. So yeah, Ojai, California. It was very amazing. A lot of spiritual things happened to me there. So I think that's probably why it was my favorite, honestly.
Cool. Have you been there more than once?
No, but I do plan on going back. And I had to force myself to leave after a week. I had to remind myself, you did this to travel, not to stay in one place.
Is that tempting to have that happen? Like where you just want to stay in one place
Absolutely.
sometimes?
Yeah. I mentioned Morro Bay a second ago, and I had been there before with a different company, like a friend and then an ex, but I went there by myself, and it's absolutely amazing. Just the bay, there's like otters. There's one side where there's otters, and there's another side of the bay where there's surfers, and the beach basically opens at sunrise. So I would drive down there and park, open the back doors of my van, and just watch the surfers all day, and just the air and the sound and the big rock. If you're not familiar with Morro Bay, there's a big, huge rock that's right there in the bay, and it's like one of the prettiest landscape things you could ever see. It's
Uh-huh.
so yes, there are times where I just like, okay, River, it's time to go.
Nice. So I appreciate you joining us here in the Ordinary to Badass Facebook group. And it's kind of tradition here that I ask you if you consider yourself ordinary or badass.
I'm definitely a badass.
I
Yeah,
love it. Tell us about
definitely.
that.
Well, let's see. I worked for Bank of America for 10 years. I was a financial analyst. Um, to make a very long story short, I had kind of always wanted to travel. I worked in the accounting department, which I'm not very accounty. Like, you say accounting, you think of like stiff shirt. I've always been kind of a hippie, like free spirit. So again, long story short, I lost my dad unexpectedly in 2013, and of course, for about a year, I took it kind of hard.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I picked up Jen Sincero's "You Are a Badass" book. And a lot of people say, oh, that book changed my life, but that book literally changed my life because it gave me a different perception on a lot of things, a different way to view things, just exercises on how to live life to the fullest, because as far as I know, we only get the one life. And I didn't want to waste it in the office. So I started making a plan. And actually, a couple of days ago was my 3-year anniversary of leaving the bank. So I have officially been full time nomadic and working remotely for 3 years.
That's so cool. So you said when you were, I think, is my audio sounding weird or is it
Nope,
coming?
you
Okay.
sound fine.
Okay. Thank you. So you said when you were banking, you started making a plan. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I started looking around at the fluorescent lights and the cubicle and just not enough vacation days. And I started thinking, like, man, I don't want to die in this office. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
I don't want to get up every day and drive an hour to work and spend 8+ hours here and then drive an hour back. And like, I felt like I was living for the weekends. And deep down, spiritually, I knew that I wanted more out of life, I guess. But I also knew that I value security very much. And throwing caution to the wind is not very secure. But for 3 years, it's treated me really well, like just taking risk and having faith and going with it. So I started making a plan, like, all right, if I can sell all my things and move into an RV, and I just have to figure out, the money situation. That's the thing. Everyone's always asking me, like, how do you make money on the road? Like, what do
Right.
you do? How do you travel
Yeah.
full time? And I literally changed professions. I went from being a financial analyst to a digital marketer, and I'm self-taught 100%. Well, okay, that is not true. I did get a mentor. I did invest in a mentor to help me, get the concepts of marketing online and stuff like that. And from time to time, I still reach out to her not even about marketing things, just about life in general. And she's been amazing. So yeah, I invested in myself, in my future, and that's pretty much how I made the plan to get out of there.
So before 3 years ago, could you ever have seen yourself doing that? Like leaving your job and going on the road?
Well, I had daydreamed about it constantly, sitting there in my cubicle thinking, this is what I want to do. How am I going to make myself able to do it? So, so yes, yeah, definitely.
And I don't think I asked you this earlier. Have you always felt like a badass, or was it something in the book that just like lit you up or triggered something in you?
Um, I've always been kind of a question authority, question everything type of person.
Yeah.
But I was also raised in a Catholic household. So there was sort of like a limit to that authority questioning without getting into much trouble. So, I've never been like in trouble as far as like the law or anything. I'm a good egg, but but yeah, I've always questioned everything, and yeah, so yeah.
So has that helped you? Like I feel like questioning things can be very
Um,
helpful.
in the corporate world, it did not help me at all. They don't
I can
like
see that.
they don't like answering questions, especially from females. Not to go down that road,
Yeah.
but they
But they
they
like to fit in a box, maybe.
thank you. That's precisely it. Yes. So no, it hasn't always worked to my advantage, but being the nomad that I am now, it definitely, like, I look at things from every which way, every perspective, to always have the one up on any kind of situation that I come encounter with.
What led you to invest in a mentor?
Um, Honestly, wanting to be free, wanting to travel, because I knew that I couldn't learn that stuff on my own. I knew that I needed someone to guide me who had already done it. And the mentor that I hired, her and her husband actually live on the beach in Costa Rica. And same thing, they left their corporate jobs and they left it all behind, and they moved to Costa Rica, and they're the digital beach bums. They just live and have a business, or probably a few businesses online. So yeah, that was something I definitely knew that I needed to do, even though it kind of took me a while to get there, to like put money into myself, because that's a whole nother issue, the whole money mindset transformation that I went through to get me where I am now. So yeah.
So was that terrifying, like leaving your job, but then just traveling on your own? Because I know a lot of times people feel security with numbers. So was going on your own terrifying?
um Not really. I fear two things. Do you want to know what they are?
Yeah, share.
I fear dying in a plane crash, and I fear being sucked up in a tornado. Other than those two things, I pretty much don't, I'm not afraid of anything.
Right. Do you know where that comes from, or is it just something you've always been afraid of?
Well, the tornado thing, I did live in Oklahoma in
Okay.
my early 20s and had an experience with a tornado. So I know in my mind and
Yeah.
saw with my own eyes the destruction that it can cause. That's
Yeah.
where that came from. The airplane thing, no idea. Actually, I think it's because I'm not in control of the airplane. If I were flying, it'd be different.
Sounds like you need to become a pilot.
Right?
So you started the Jen Sincero fans discovering your inner badassery group.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about, and when did it come about?
Um, let's see. I think that was in late 2017. When I was a baby nomad, or a baby digital nomad, I pretty much had my hands in a lot of things as far as internet marketing. I can honestly say I never joined like an MLM or any kind of pyramid scheme.
What's an MLM?
Um,
Just
multi-level marketing.
marketing, maybe? Okay.
Basically, like, you see people selling essential oils or candles or skincare products, and it's like literally like a pyramid scheme. You get people to sign up under you and you make money. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I opened a few e-commerce stores. I tried my hand at doing the whole, hey, this is River and this is my life, and like making a brand for myself. But honestly, and this may come as a little surprise, but I'm kind of introverted. I mean, I'm very introverted, honestly. For a badass, that's a weird thing to say, but it's true. Like,
I'm with you. I'm completely introverted, so I can
right,
relate.
exactly. So, you know, anytime I found myself in a rut or, you know, just wondering what direction I wanted my life to take, I would always go back to Jen's book. Not only did I reread things that I read before and saw them in a new light, but it inspired me and motivated me to want to connect to people who felt the same way, which is why I started the group.
Was it her, like, her first book that you're
Yes,
talking about?
the yellow one. Yes.
Yeah.
And then after I formed the group, then later the money book came out, and then the blue book, which is, I think, Every Day You're a Badass, or You're a Badass Every Day. I think that's the title. The titles are a bit lengthy for my brain, so sometimes I don't remember them.
Yeah.
What is it, like How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Live an Awesome Life? Is that what it is?
I think you're right.
The
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was mainly wanting to connect with other people who had felt the way that I did, who wanted to seek better things for themselves, and basically just to have a brain trust or a place where people can come and just be themselves and, you know, get motivation from other people like them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as an introvert, at least personally, it can be hard starting a Facebook group or putting yourself out there. So what did you have to tell yourself or go through to do it?
So I do consider myself an introvert, but when it comes to my badassery, I don't mess around.
Nice.
And honestly, like if it were like in the same town where I would like have to meet with people in person, I'd be a lot more apprehensive. But because of security of like being online, you know, it's not like a face-to-face kind of deal where like it would be, you know, like if you were meeting in person. So I think I thrive better online, which actually translates towards the digital marketing that I do and just the networking that I do with people online.
So do you think that helped that you could have a community of people that were like you, or maybe you didn't feel alone when you saw other people were understanding or relating, saying they felt the same way?
Absolutely, yes. But also, we do have a lot of extroverted people in the group, which is awesome. Like, you know, I think, you know, you need that kind of balance as far as the people you network with, the people you surround yourself with. Because if you hang out with a bunch of introverts and you're introverted, there's really no challenge there.
Right.
You know, someone to poke you and be like, hey, you said you were going to do XYZ by this date and you haven't done it. Not saying that introverts can't do that, but extroverts or just people in general who aren't introverted kind of, you know, motivate you and move you along on your journey.
Right. So what does being a badass mean to you?
How much time do you have?
Just go for it. I'll stop you.
So, okay, here's an example. When I started with the van, I actually traveled for a year and a half in an RV with someone else. And then that ended, and I bought a van and I converted it over 6 months in Phoenix during the summer. I don't know what I was thinking. But when I set off, yeah, yes, that's an understatement. Okay. So when I set off in the van, I set off with a very small 500-watt solar generator, very small, like all-in-one thing. Well, last week I ordered a complete solar setup and it came in, and I installed all of it yesterday by myself. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel like a badass.
Yes.
The fact that I converted my van from a passenger van, completely gutted it and turned it into a camper van with no carpentry skills, no electric, like I'm not an electrician, obviously, like not knowing how to do these. I literally went to YouTube, watched a video how to do it, and did it. That makes me feel like a badass.
Yes. And sometimes I'll do things that I'm not good at. Just maybe part of it is my stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
But then like I could completely suck at it. But once I finish, same thing. It's like, oh, that's kind of badass, or I feel badass right now.
Right? Well, some of my cabinets and counters in the van aren't perfect,
Yeah.
but they're functional,
Right.
and
Right.
that's completely, I mean, I understand. Trust me.
Yeah.
I still feel like a badass because I did it myself.
Yes, yes. Believe me, I tried to change a door handle on my own and it was bad news. Like I watched, I don't know how many YouTube videos and I was so stubborn to do it. And it took me, I don't know how many hours for just a little doorknob.
Mhm.
And it was like probably half broken in a few days, but whatever.
Exactly.
So when you started when you started going into marketing, how did you arrange that? I know you said sometimes coffee shops, but to get internet connection to do that, how did you go about it?
Well, I have Verizon. So I have so many gigabytes per month that I can use a hotspot on my phone. So I turn on the hotspot and I can connect to my phone to the internet on my laptop using my phone's hotspot.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's what I use.
Okay. When What would you say to the woman out there that's trying to start a like she wants to start a business or an online business and she doesn't have any tech skills? What would you say to her?
I would say work on your mindset first because there are days where you will want to literally pick up your laptop and throw it across the room. But being able to stop yourself in that moment and literally take a breath and realize stuff isn't as bad as you think it is, you can do anything. And I mean, I know that may sound like cliche or it may sound, even impossible, but I believe anything is possible as long as you have the right mindset. And Jen Shinchero's book actually helped me with that, like 100%. So when people say, how can I start my own business? I can tell you how to go to Shopify and go to AliExpress, and I can tell you the algorithms of Instagram and Facebook and all these things. But the thing that I recommend doing is getting your mind right first, because without that, you're going to give up within 3 months.
How do you What's something you do to get your mind right?
Oh, I meditate. I meditate. I I okay. This is where it gets a little funny. I burn sage. I read my own oracle/tarot cards. It's not for everyone, and I understand that. What I recommend is finding what you connect with within yourself, because not everyone's going to want to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have their different deities. Some people have no deities. For me personally, I meditate. I go for walks. I get out in nature, being around trees, being around the ocean. That makes me feel so connected to everything in the universe. And
Yeah.
that's how I get my mind right.
Can you tell me just a little bit about tarot cards?
Well, I can. um, I think some people take them way too seriously. The way that I use them is basically as a guide, as far as the old magic 8 ball and you shake it. I mean, that's a little parlor trick, all signs point to yes. I like to think of it as an extension of that. So I take it with a grain of salt. I'll focus on a problem or a question that I have. Um, Not to get all woo woo on you, but I'll ask, for guidance from the universe. And I pull the cards, and whatever I pull, I literally study what the book says. And obviously, everyone, you can get 3 people and have the same card mean something different to all 3 of them. So I think it's what you take it for what it is, as far as like how you can make it work for you in your life, as long as you're not taking it as absolute truth. Like I said, grain of salt, and more of like a guide than anything.
How has that helped you?
Oh man. So if I say I need to focus on a business plan, I'll I'll sit there and I'll meditate and I'll really connect and I'll get really clear and I'll focus on the question. I spread out my cards, read them, and depending on what they say, like sometimes I'm giving mantras, sometimes I'm giving affirmations, sometimes I get nothing. Sometimes it doesn't even have anything to do with anything and I'm like whatever. Which is why I say grain of salt
Yeah.
and think of it as more of a guide than as 100% absolute truth.
Yeah. And how often are you doing like this mindset or meditation work?
Um, every day.
Yeah, I love it.
Every morning. Especially during a full moon or a new moon. There's a new moon on Saturday, by the way. um, Actually, I have, hang on one second. I have these guys here. I don't know if you can see this. These are
Moonology?
Moonology Oracle cards, and they're different from tarot cards. Tarot is okay, so Oracle cards are more of like a basic guide. Tarot is more of um, it's older. It's an older religious practice. It's more based in Wicca, witchcraft, or
Hmm.
even just paganism in general. And I don't consider myself any of those things. Um,
So,
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
What's moonology based on?
Moonology is actually based on the moon cycle
Oh, okay.
and how there's
Hence
actually a
why you're
book.
excited for Saturday, right?
Yes, ma'am. There's actually a book that accompanies it. So, um, I know a lot of people don't believe in, astrology, what have you, but I am a Cancer and also take that with a grain of salt. Um, but I have very, very characteristics of a Cancer, and Cancers are led by the moon. So a lot of my practices kind of are based around the moon cycle. So new moon is setting intentions, um, putting down a plan, and until the full moon happens, where you'll start seeing that plan come to fruition, because ultimately we create our own reality, and depending on the practice or the way you do that is completely up to the individual. I just go this route because it's what feels most natural to me.
And I think that's so important. I think that everybody is going to have to tweak things or figure out what works for them. And
Yes.
what I do isn't going to work for you or isn't going to work for April or, anybody else in the group necessarily. Everybody has to do kind of their own thing. Um,
Absolutely.
I do think it's interesting though to hear about different perspectives, like how different people meditate or what they do to relax them.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I grew up thinking tarot cards were a little weird, and then like
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends does them, and I was like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. Like so. I think that
Exactly.
sometimes you really have to maybe even reinvestigate. What you
Mm-hmm.
thought before, because as a kid you're going to think completely different than an adult.
Right. And again, I was raised Catholic and I was taught that, those things are evil. I thought a lot of the mindset and meditation practices that I do now, yoga is another thing that I do that I didn't mention. Um, I was taught that all those things were demonic. So I
Hmm.
stayed away from it for a very long time. And unfortunately, because I feel like if I had started earlier in life, I could be way further where I am now as far as mindset and manifestation. But also, everything comes at the perfect timing. So,
Right, right. And how long do you do it every day?
it depends. Sometimes I can't connect for the life of me, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna go have my coffee. And then other times, I can go for more than an hour. It just depends on, I don't want to say my mood, because mood has nothing to do with it. It's just how focused you can be, how big of a bladder you have. Because
Yes.
getting up and going to the restroom, it kind of interrupts things, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And
So it just depends on the day,
yeah.
honestly.
How does it change you, say if you don't do it? Is there a difference in how you feel?
Oh man. I get so irritable. I have very, like, my patience is very thin. Um yeah. Yeah, I definitely um what's the word I'm searching for here? Recognize or notice. I definitely notice a difference in just my very makeup if I don't do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's funny how
absolutely.
that happens.
Yeah, because it does keep me at a level of calm and peace and gratefulness, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of my practice revolves around just listing all the things I'm grateful for, down to a cup of water to my toothbrush, because without those things, I'd have some stanky breath. you know, it's the little things.
Yes.
And then, all the way up to the big things like my family and my friends and just people that love me and that I love, it's all the things.
Yeah. I think I used to think that I used to think it was kind of silly, like, why am I going to be grateful for a toothbrush, or why am I going to be grateful for the roof over my head? Like, it, for some reason, it just didn't connect with me until, like, I went on my financial journey, paying off debt, and I just wasn't buying things like I used to.
Right.
And then I realized, like, I don't need all that excess. Not to say I'm not still tempted.
Right. Well, I can certainly attest to that. Having lived my entire life, I was a collector, and here's a little admittance. I was a huge nerd. I had comic books, I had action figures, and once I started getting into personal growth and mindset and meditation, I realized a lot of the things that I held sacred for myself just didn't matter anymore.
Hmm.
Not to say that, those things aren't important, because I mean, I still watch Firefly and I still watch Buffy, and, those things bring me joy. I'm not going to
Right.
lie.
Right.
Um, but now that I'm in the van, I'm still trying to get rid of things. Everything
Yeah.
that I own, everything fits in my van. And I went from a 2-bedroom apartment, you know, downsized to what I have now in the van. And it's amazing the things that you don't need that you think
Yes.
you need.
Yeah.
And like earlier, I was saying, being out in nature, like just connecting and realizing, like, as human beings, we need so little to survive. I'm not very materialistic at all. I think I own like 13 shirts. Not to say, again, not to say that there's anything wrong with, having a full wardrobe or shoes or what have you. But personally, for me, I feel more connected and more myself with being a minimalist, which kind
Yeah.
of goes hand in hand with my lifestyle.
And you look at like third world countries and stuff and how happy people are, and it's like, what the heck, why are they so happy with
Right,
so little? And
right.
yet so many like Americans, and I'm like, I'm not above this, I get in this too, it's just kind of like the always wanting more thing, which we
Yeah.
sometimes have to try to combat.
Right. And I believe we take a lot of things for granted. I spent 3 weeks in a national forest in Oregon before I came to my friend's house for COVID, just because I was afraid they were going to start closing down all of the camping areas. But I have, a 6-gallon water tank, and you value things so much more whenever whenever you're mindful of them. So even here, I'm like washing my hands. I turn the sink off when I'm soaping them up, or I turn the sink off when I'm brushing my teeth. And those things aren't things I thought about when I lived in the apartment before I went nomadic. I'm so
Right.
mindful of the resources that I use now because of the way that I do live.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love as I told you earlier, I love the cute little orange cat in the back.
Yeah, I've had her for 15 years. Her name is Gur. She travels with me. She's probably been to more states than a lot of people in the US. I think we are up to 16 states now.
Right.
She's just my little travel buddy. She
Nice.
she loves it.
Yeah. It's funny how having an animal sometimes can make you not feel so lonely, just like have a dog, have a cat or
Dude.
something, companionship.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I'm like 4 miles up a mountain, 3,000 feet elevation, and there's not a soul in sight. It's just me and my cat. I don't take her for granted. And I know I don't want to sound like a crazy cat lady, but I love her. She's my best friend.
Okay, so I gotta ask, how do you like? Do you take her hiking with you, or do you leave her? Like I was asking by the 3,000 feet elevation. I don't know.
Normally if I go on a hike, I'll leave her in the van, which she, as you can see, she sleeps about
Yeah.
like 85% of the time. If I'm just hanging out at camp, I let her roam a bit. Of course, I kind of helicopter over her. I bought her a harness and a leash, but she ain't having it.
Yes. Yes. Like many, probably, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago I had two cats and they were probably like 20 pounds, 22 pounds each. They weren't even fat. They were just like big, like Mancoon cats or something. And we tried to take them camping and put them on like one of those harness leash. No, didn't even work. Didn't even get out of the house. Like
That's
it
so
just was
funny.
not going to happen. They just started going crazy.
Yeah, she's a little adventurous kitty. Like I said, she's been to the beach with me. She's been in the forest. She's been in the desert. She's been in snow. She was in snow for the first time. We spent a night in Mount Shasta, on our way up the coast, and she's such a great baby. Everyone thinks that about their fur kids, right?
Yeah. So, what have you learned from your time alone when traveling?
Oh man. Um, I used to say that being alone with myself was dangerous because um, I don't know how much I can divulge here, but I am part of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, of
And
course you can.
growing up, in the 90s, it wasn't as it is now, like
Right?
so accepted now.
Yeah.
Back then, I did go through some depression. I lost my best friend when I was 18. I still struggle with that today.
Yeah.
No amount of mindset work can make you forget or,
It's hard.
not grieve.
Yeah.
So, being alone has taught me how to be alone, like how to really control my thoughts, how to really stop the negativity in my own mind before it has time to grow and manifest itself in not eating for days, um, over or eating too much, So yeah, being alone has definitely taught me how to deal with my own thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's not that pretty. But
Right?
because of reading Jen's book, I learned that, you can't control your thoughts as far as where they come from, but as far as what you feed them, like you can definitely control
Yes.
as soon as a bad thought comes into my head, I'm like, nope, that's not going to happen. I'll start singing a song or start dancing. I don't care.
That's so good.
And I do thrive, I think, a lot, with being alone. Like I do have friends, like the friends I'm staying with now. I've known her since I was a teenager, um, but I do value alone time. I have to energize. I get a lot of energy from being alone. Being around a lot of people kind of drains me. For not to say that I can't be, sociable, because I
Right.
can,
Right.
obviously, but I definitely need a lot of alone time to recharge, to
Yeah.
get me back to a state of calm.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that
Yeah.
definitely. And like even since Corona, I'm like, okay, I'm a big introvert, but it did remind me that I need people.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah,
So do you think that traveling alone has made you stronger?
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Um, when I traveled before with my ex, a lot of the planning wasn't up to me. I basically was like, sure, let's just go do whatever you want to do. Being alone, I literally have to know an address to point my GPS at. Otherwise, I'm just driving blind. Well, not literally, because that's very dangerous, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. Like having to come up with a plan as far as, where I want to go, what do I want to see? And that's another thing, like, River, what do you want to see? Like, do you want to go to Morro Bay? Do you want to do a tour of Hearst Castle? I don't know if you know what that is, but
Uh-uh.
you should do it. uh,
Hearst Castle, is that what you
Her-
said?
Hearst Castle is a castle, in Southern California, and it's literally what it sounds like. It's a huge castle that this man built, and it's phenomenal. Like, it's so breathtaking. but just, figuring out things that I truly want to be interested or that I'm interested in, and making a plan to literally drive there. And of course, there's a safety issue. A lot of people, don't you ever feel unsafe on the road? And that goes back to my no fear thing. Not really. I mean, I'm very much of whatever happens, happens,
Uh-huh.
but I'm also very positive too. I'm kind of a smart cookie. I don't put myself in dangerous situations, and I'm not saying that things don't happen, because they do. We live in
Yeah.
a weirdo world, especially now. Um, but a lot of that is intuition and
Yes.
driving through a certain neighborhood, thinking, okay, I'm gonna park here and sleep tonight, and then there comes that intuition. No, maybe you should keep going. Just really honing in into that inner voice and knowing what to stay away from and what to gravitate towards.
Yes, and I think as women we have such an intuition, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't always listen to it, but it's so important.
Right. Absolutely.
Has there been a time where that has helped you when you've listened, or has hurt you when you haven't?
Well, there was this one time where I was gonna park on the beach and not knowing the tide, and something told me don't do it. So I didn't. But the
Mm-hmm.
next morning I drove down there, and literally where I was gonna park was covered in water.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I mean, I know that's kind of a silly example,
No,
but
because if you would have
yes,
parked there, that would have been devastating.
that's my home.
Yes.
Yeah. So I always, even though I'm not very fearful of a lot of things, I'm not silly either. Like I do pay attention to my surroundings, and
Yeah.
my intuition guides me like a bird.
Yeah. And sometimes I think the meditation helps with that too, just to remind
Oh
you to be in touch with
gosh,
yourself.
big time.
Yeah.
And without meditation, my intuition would be crap.
Right.
learning to differentiate your ego voice or your little prince voice from what your spirit is saying is very important. In fact, I
Hmm.
just put something on my Facebook about empathy, and not enabling victimhood in people, and knowing where that balance is, and listening to your intuition. And a way to
Yeah,
tune your intuition is to tune in and meditate, connect to source, listen to,
absolutely.
listen,
Yeah.
basically.
So earlier you talked a little bit about struggling with depression and being part of the LGBTQ community.
Hmm.
Um, how long ago did you start talking about it? And did that change your depression at all, or
You mean like when did I come
when you
out?
came out? Yep.
I was super young. I was super, super young. Well, I'm older than I look. I turned 41 next month.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do look
So
young.
so when I was 13 or 14 is when I really started, really, like, I mean, I kind of always knew. I always knew since I was in kindergarten, but like around 12, 13, 14 is when I started to really like, shouldn't I start liking guys by now? Like that was like a thing for me.
Right.
So when I was 13, I started telling my friends, and thankfully, the friends that I surrounded myself with were very supportive. My family were the ones that, Catholic,
Right. Right.
Mexican Catholic on top of that. So that's still something that I have to struggle with now. Definitely different on my end, because now I'm just like, this is me. You either love me or you don't. So
Yeah.
sorry. But back then when you're a kid, you don't have that wisdom, you don't have that maturity. So yeah, I would say from the ages of 13 to even 21 was really rough for me as far as that goes, until I started realizing I'm my own person and I'm awesome. I'm a badass. If you don't like me, then that's on you.
Yeah. So what do you think changed when you were 21? Just your attitude of, I don't care, I'm going to be who I am, or was there something specific?
Nope. I think that was it. Just basically like I started realizing the woman that I am. I'm very patient, loving, compassionate, toot toot toot, tooting my own horn. But for the sake of the conversation, like I started recognizing the integrity that I had in myself and questioning, like, why am I being treated this way because I love someone? That's so silly. So I think definitely a level of maturity helped with that.
Yeah.
Just coming into my own and realizing that didn't define me as a person. Who I am and my integrity and my abundance of love for everyone, even those who are not so great to me, that started defining who I was. And that's when I started saying, well, you're lost.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're comfortable answering this, but what's a common misconception people have about the LGBTQ community?
Let's see. Well, I don't think I can speak for the entire umbrella.
Yeah.
I fall under the L.
Okay.
So, a misconception that I have, and it's going to sound silly, but a lot of questions I got from my family or just from my straight friends were, who's the guy? Like, that's the whole point. There's not one.
Right, right.
That's the whole point. Um, and I've had like my sister ask me some really personal questions about just you know things that I probably shouldn't talk about here, but so yeah, just basically like not really understanding how it works, and why can't I just like guys? Like, I don't know, why can't you just
Do
be
do you still hear questions like that? And I'm asking that honestly.
um No, thank goodness. Because I've kind of not gotten defensive, but I've gotten more affirmative in my older age, where I'm just like, before I would kind of be submissive and like gloss over it. Now I'm like, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. I'm just basically like very assertive and just let them know up front, no, that's not how this is going to fly.
Right, right. And that's honestly, that's just the beauty of getting older.
Right.
I think like is you
Absolutely.
just sink more into your own voice.
Right.
And the more you use it, I think it's a little bit easier to just keep doing that or say what you just really feel.
Exactly. And a thing that a lot of people, in the community itself have asked me, well, why aren't you more vocal about your sexuality? Um, I'm not to say I'm not proud of who I am, but I was never the, pride. Yeah, I was never that kind of gay person. It doesn't really define who I am as a person. I'm also a vegetarian, and unless someone offers me a meat stick, you wouldn't know that because I don't go around preaching it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I am so many more things than just being a lesbian, like, you know. So it's not something I'm very vocal about, not to say that I'm ashamed or, closed mouthed about it. I mean, like, I'll tell anyone, obviously, I'm talking about it now, but a lot of people, friends and family, question why I'm not more vocal about it. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, it just doesn't define me. A lot of people's identities rest solely on that. And not even consciously, but subconsciously, I didn't want to become that person when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now that I'm older and more wise, of course, it's not that I didn't want to become that person. I just never was that person. Like, it's not ingrained in me to be very vocal about anything that I am. So
Right.
that's another thing. Like, people expect me to be, marching with a rainbow flag, and that's not my jam.
Right. Which I mean, I think that's so important that really, and this is cliche too, like you do you, you have to
Right.
do what works for you. But so often we
Absolutely.
think we have to listen to what somebody else is telling us to do
Right.
or what somebody else thinks we should do. And it's like,
Right.
how's that going to help? You know?
Right. And I do have friends that are very near and dear to my heart who are those people. And that's
Yeah.
great. Like, that
Right.
works for you. But personally, that's just, like I said, being gay doesn't define who I am. Being a badass defines who I am.
Nice. So how, with this Facebook group that you've started, what have you learned from it?
Well, I've learned that people will try to plug their business any way they can, which is why I set up such strict rules with it. Okay, honestly, what I've learned is that people from different walks of life, male, female, different religions, different races, essentially they all want the same thing. They want to be understood and they want to be loved. And hopefully that's what my group can offer people, because that's what I'm all about. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to be loved on? Who doesn't want to be told you're doing an awesome job? There's no like competition, there's no drama, and any hint of drama, I stop it right away. None of that's allowed in my group.
Right. How do you cultivate that? Like the love and understanding. Obviously one thing is probably stopping the drama, but how else do you cultivate that?
Upon entering the group, I make it very clear that I'm not associated with Jen and that I am literally just a fan page of people who love her work. I also make it very clear that I'm not going to tolerate any sort of hate speech or any kind of shenanigans. So I think right off the bat, people who enter know that that's not that kind of group.
Right.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah. So if there's a woman here that wants to start their own group or that is feeling alone, like they don't have anybody like them, whether it's like public speaking or hiking or being a badass or whatever it is, what do you think that they should do or could do? Sorry. What do you think they could do to get started?
There are so many groups for all kinds of things, all kinds of niches, and you just have to know, what keywords to search for, basically. Facebook, as much as I have my own thoughts as far as privacy and just the way that it's used sometimes, I think it can also be an environment for positivity, an environment for networking, an environment for people who may want to go and join groups like you just mentioned, but not knowing how. There's a group for everything. And if there isn't, create one. That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if it's scary, I mean, sometimes scary is good.
Yeah. Nothing worth doing in this life is not scary.
Right.
Everything that I've done is scary as hell.
Yes.
But you know what? I would rather want to try and fail than not try at all. I will always take the risk, and I've had it not work out in my favor. All the things that I've talked about have come from lots of failure. Not everything I do is a success, obviously.
Yeah.
And I always try to be like on my own personal Facebook. I always try to not, you see a lot of like social media life versus real life where people put on a certain facade or they'll show you certain pictures of what they want you to think. I put it all out there, baby. I'm just like, today was the suckiest day ever. And if people ask, I tell them, I don't really hide. I wear my, my heart on my sleeve. I try to be as authentic and real with people as I can, because you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And who needs, not the motivation, but just to not feel alone. Because I've been that person that has felt alone, and it's not a good feeling.
Right. Yeah. And authenticity is like so important rather than just seeing the fake same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, like, I've never been like a camera person, but still, if I'm taking a picture of my natural thing, and I think it's from just being a kid or something, like you just smile. And it's like, I don't even feel like smiling right now. Why would I smile?
Right.
I don't know. Or just something you're taught. Because every time like a parent would hold up a camera, it's cheese,
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, when I get to that point, I'm like, well, why am I taking pictures in the first place if I'm not feeling it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but even if I'm trying to like capture a moment, like if I feel upset or feel like then my natural thing, just my automatic thing, and then I'm like, that's ridiculous, that's the stupidest thing. Like I catch myself in it,
Right.
And I don't try to post if I'm feeling like crap. I don't try to post like a smiley picture portraying something different, but I just think it's like one of those things that is ingrained in me or something.
or I'll do it like sarcastically, like a sarcastic smile with the caption like today sucked.
Yeah.
Just let people know, hey, she's not really smiling.
Yeah.
That's not a good smile.
So River, do you have any tips like for the badass women that are in this group or that'll watch this video about what they can do to be a badass?
Get out of your comfort zone. Nothing ever good happens in a comfort zone. And that goes back to taking risk. And of course, to your mindset, because without the know that you can do it, without the knowledge that you can do it, then you won't even try. You have to know deep down inside of you, you're a badass and you can do whatever you want to do as long as you choose to do it.
Right.
Inaction is also an action. Not taking action is a choice.
Yeah.
So definitely challenge yourself on what your comfort zone is. Challenge your excuses. Challenge the people you surround yourself with. If you're surrounding yourself with people that look at you cross-eyed when you tell them you want to run a 10K and you never run in your life, surround yourself with some better people. I mean, because honestly, your environment really affects who you are. And unless you're strong enough in your mind to combat that, then they'll always pull you down, unfortunately.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying like cut everybody in your life off or anything, just have the wisdom to know where the balance is and know that there are people out there like me who just decide one day, screw this office job, I'm going to go live my life because, that's what I did. You have to take the risk.
And do you regret it at all?
You have to get out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Do you regret it at all? Leaving your job?
Absolutely not. Oh,
I
my
didn't
goodness.
think so, but I thought I would ask.
No. Honestly, as far as money goes, I'm just under the cusp of what I was making as a financial analyst doing what I do now. And
yeah, awesome.
And I'm in a position where, I don't want for a lot. I don't need a lot. I paid off a lot of my debt. Still have the phone bill and the car, the van insurance and things like that, and just my basic needs as far as food. But no, I don't regret it at all. Had I not taken the plunge, I would have regretted my life. I didn't want to be like an old person laying there thinking back on my life like, oh, I spent 80 years in an office. No, I want to think back of Ojai, California and the beach and the Oregon, National Forest. I'm making memories for myself,
Yes.
I don't regret it at all, to answer your question.
Yes. And I've heard before, like to pretend like you're at your funeral and like what you would want people to be saying about you or like about the life that you lived. And I think it's a different point of view to look at. So then you can kind of calculate it that way. Like if I want to accomplish all these things, let's work backwards and just find little steps that I can do to get there.
Absolutely. And so I mentioned that I come from a Mexican family. I have 33 first cousins.
Oh, wow.
And I think I'm the 5th oldest. So I have a lot of younger cousins who are now coming into their own 25, 30. And they messaged me on Facebook and they're like, you are such an inspiration. I cannot believe that you're doing what you're doing. And I'm like, dude, you can do it. All you got to do is make a decision to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing just falls in your lap. You have to make a plan and take action. As Jen says, take massive action, because without taking action, then your life is just going to go and be over before you know it.
And how do you get past that fear of failure, like before taking action?
I don't, failure is not an option. That's the attitude that I take. And if failure does happen to occur, I use it as a tool to learn. I don't, turn around with my tail between my legs and give up. I'm like, oh, so that's where I went wrong. It's like playing a video game when you're little. You get to a certain point and you keep dying, you keep practicing until you overcome that obstacle.
Yes.
Being on the road like I am, I have to be resourceful. I have to think of things, how can I stop this roof from leaking? How can I, you know, I look at things with a different perspective. And again, it always goes back to Jen's book. Just because it opened my mind to it literally opened my mind to every possibility. So failure is not an option, but it does occur because nothing is perfect. I don't let failure get me down. I look at it as a challenge, and I learn from my failure and then jump back in with 2 feet and conquer it because I'm a badass.
Yes. Yep. And I mean, failure is only a failure if you look at it that way,
Exactly.
And I know I used to fail and I would beat myself up for any little mistake or any failure and be like, I'm so stupid, I'm this. And it's like, you can use it to learn, to grow. It doesn't have to be like the world is crashing.
Right. And that's, like you just said, that's where when the negative self-talk starts to come, immediately recognize it and be like, you know what? I'm not a failure. I happen to fail this time.
Yes.
If you can imagine it, then you can do it. There's nothing in this world that you can't imagine that you can't do, because everything already exists. And don't even get me started on quantum physics. Everything that you want to do, you can do. And a lot of people will say that's my privilege talking. Well, I was raised in a trailer park. My mom worked at Kmart. So you want to talk about privilege? That's a whole nother story. People say that when they feel challenged and they want to use their excuses to be stuck in their comfort zone. And I don't play that game.
So good. I love it. River, how can we connect with you?
Oh gosh. So you can follow my van life adventures on Instagram at Grateful River, all one word. I'm also on Twitter, but my Twitter is mostly for I'm into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I don't know how much you know about all that, but when I started out in marketing, because I was in finance for so long, I transitioned to the crypto world and started doing marketing for crypto because it was just a niche that fit so well with me. I moved past that now and I work for a video game company. Cool. So yeah, Grateful River. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay. Is that GRATEFULRIVER?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Grateful. Is that the same on Facebook, or are you just on Twitter and Instagram? Or I could put a link later if you want.
Facebook. I don't really have too much Facebook going on as far as just my personal Facebook, which I kind of reserve for people that I know, friends and family.
Yeah. But the Jen Sincero fans, they can find you in there, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. River, thank you so much for being on here. You've been a total badass and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Well, thank you for having me, Maria. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. So I will talk to you later.
All right, guys. Stay badass.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. If you liked this podcast episode, sign up for Let's Be Badass today. It's only $1. And I'm still honoring it since I had some of my links from Black Friday. I had some of the links that were down. So I'm still honoring the $1 price. Join for $1, and then it will eventually, next month, it'll increase to $47. But I would love to have you be behind the scenes of these podcasts with me and ask the experts questions. The link to Let's Be Badass is in the show notes. And with that, I'll leave you to your badassery.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.